The sound of tires screaming against wet road. A flash of headlights. And then, a car stopped 2 inches from my body. The door swung open. He stepped out. Tall. Jaw tight. Eyes cold as steel. And looked at me like I was the inconvenience of his entire day. And I looked right back at him and said, "You almost killed me. And you have the nerve to look at me like that?" He stepped closer. Voice low. "Get out of my road." I did not move. I do not know what possessed me. I do not know where it came from. But I slammed my hand on the hood of his car so hard my palm stung. He stopped. Turned around slowly. Then he reached into his jacket. Pulled out a card. And held it out. "If you change your mind about being hurt," he said, "call that number." I looked at the card. I looked at him. I took the card. And dropped it on the ground. "Keep it," I said. And I walked away. I heard him exhale behind me. Somewhere between disbelief and something else entirely. I did not look back. I called Zora the second I turned the corner. "Zora. Maya. Why do you sound like that?" Some arrogant maniac in a fancy car almost ran me over and then told me to cross faster. Dead silence. Then. Was he cute though? "Zora. I am just asking." "Goodbye, Zora." I hung up. But despite everything, despite the rain and the rejection and the near-death experience, I was smiling. I want you to remember this moment. Because this man, this infuriating, arrogant, insufferable man, I married him. But before I tell you how that happened, you need to understand where I was standing the day we met. Because I was not just standing in the middle of a road. I was standing at the edge of everything falling apart. My name is Maya. And for 4 years after graduation, 4 long, humiliating, exhausting years, I could not get a single job. Not for lack of trying. I sent out hundreds of applications. I showed up to interviews in my best clothes with my best smile. I researched companies, rehearsed answers, followed up professionally. And every single time, we have decided to go with another candidate. Your profile does not quite match what we are looking for. We will keep your CV on file. On file. Like I was a document. Like my 4 years of studying, my sleepless nights, my student loans, all of it, could just be filed away somewhere and forgotten. The worst part was not the rejection. The worst part was calling my mother after every single one. She never complained. She never made me feel like a burden. She just said, "Keep going, baby. Your time is coming." And I would hang up the phone and cry into my pillow so she could not hear. My best friend Zara was the only person who made any of it bearable. She would show up at my door unannounced with jollof rice and bad reality TV and absolutely zero sympathy for my self-pity. "Maya, you are brilliant," she told me once, pointing her fork at me aggressively. "The problem is not you. The problem is that these companies do not deserve you yet. Zora. I just need one of them to give me a chance. They will. And when they do, you are going to walk in there and absolutely destroy it." I smiled. But deep down I was tired. So tired. The morning everything changed. I had just gotten off the phone with another recruiter. Another no. I was walking home in the rain, no umbrella, rejection letter open on my phone, not even watching where I was going. And then I heard it. Tires screaming against wet road. A blinding flash of headlights. And then, boom. My phone flew out of my hand. My heart was somewhere in my throat. For 3 full seconds I just stood there, soaking wet, shaking, staring at the hood of the most expensive car I had ever seen up close. And then the door opened. He stepped out like he owned the entire street. Dark suit. No tie. Like he had loosened it mid-argument with someone before I became his next problem. He looked at his car first. His CR. Not me. His car. Something snapped inside me. Are you serious right now? He looked up slowly. Like I had interrupted something important. You walked into the road. Flat. Unbothered. Without looking. You were speeding. The light was green. I was crossing. Then cross faster. I stared at him. The rain was pouring down my face. My hands were shaking, not from cold, from fury. You almost killed me. I said slowly. And that is all you have to say? Cross faster. He looked at me for a long moment. Something passed across his face that I could not read. Are you hurt? He asked. Not warmly. Like a legal question. Are you hurt, as in, do I need to worry about this? It is not the point. You hurt? No. But I could have been. Then we are done here. He turned back to his car. I do not know what possessed me. I do not know where it came from. But I slammed my hand on the hood of his car so hard my palm stung. He stopped. Turned around slowly. Don't, he said quietly. And somehow the quietness was more threatening than shouting. Then do not walk away from me like I am nothing. I said. My voice broke slightly on the last word. Not from fear. From everything. The rejection, the rain, the exhaustion, all of it crashing into this one ridiculous moment. Something shifted in his expression. Just for a second. Then he reached into his jacket, pulled out a card, and held it out. If you change your mind about being hurt, he said, call that number. I looked at the card. I looked at him. I took the card, and dropped it on the ground. Keep it. I said. And I walked away. I heard him exhale behind me. Somewhere between disbelief and something else entirely. I did not look back. I called Zora the second I turned the corner. Zora. Maya. Why do you sound like that? Some arrogant maniac in a fancy car almost ran me over and then told me to cross faster. Dead silence. Then, was he cute though? Zora. I am just asking. Goodbye, Zora. I hung up. But despite everything, despite the rain and the rejection and the near-death experience, I was smiling. What I did not know, what I could not have known standing in that rain, was that Adrian Cole had recognized something in that moment. Not my face. My file. Because 3 weeks earlier, my CV had landed on his desk through a recruitment agency, and he had personally flagged it. He already knew my name before I ever slammed my hand on his car. But I am getting ahead of myself. 3 days later. Zara burst through my door like a woman on fire. Maya. Get up. Get up right now. Zara, it is 7 a.m. She shoved her phone in my face. Coal Industries. Marketing Division. Applications open. I sat up slowly. Coal Industries is one of the biggest companies in the country. Zara, they are not going to apply. Right now. While I watch. I do not even have a Maya. I applied. What happened next was the fastest callback I had ever received in 4 years of trying. 24 hours later, interview confirmed. Zara screamed so loud my neighbor knocked on the wall. I prepared like my life depended on it. Because it did. I researched the company for 3 days straight. Practiced answers in the mirror. Borrowed money from Zara to buy one sharp blazer. An investment, she called it, ironing it the night before like it was sacred. The morning of the interview she stood at my door with both hands on my shoulders. You are brilliant. You are prepared. You have fought too hard and too long for this moment to waste it on nerves. You walk in there like you belong there. Because you do. My eyes filled up. Do not you dare cry and ruin your makeup, she said immediately. I laughed. And I walked out. If you have ever had a Zara in your life, someone who believed in you when you could not believe in yourself, drop a comment below. And if you are watching this alone right now telling yourself to keep going, this story is for you. Keep watching. The coal industries building was everything I imagined and more. Glass and steel reaching into the sky. Sharply dressed people moving with purpose. I passed the first round. Then the second. Then they called my name for the final interview. I straightened my blazer outside the door. Took one breath. Opened it. And stopped breathing entirely. He was sitting at the head of the table. Same jaw. Same cold eyes. Same energy that filled every room like oxygen. Except instead of a loosened tie in the rain, he was in a full suit, looking every inch like the man whose name was on the building. Adrian Cole. He looked up from my CV. And the world went completely still. Miss Meyer, he said slowly. Like he was tasting the irony of it. You are the one who almost ran me over. I said. Someone on the panel coughed. Adrian leaned back in his chair. And for one terrifying moment I thought, this is it. He is going to throw me out. He is going to humiliate me in front of everyone and send me home, and I'm going to have to tell Zora and my mother and. Sit down, he said. He interviewed me for 45 minutes. Harder than any interview I had ever done. He challenged every answer. Pushed back on every idea. Asked questions designed to make me doubt myself. I did not doubt myself. I pushed back. I defended my thinking. I gave him evidence and logic and passion, and I did not flinch once. When it was over, he looked at me for a long time. Then he turned to the panel. Give us the room. They filed out. The door clicked shut. Just me and him. Why do you want this job? He asked. And this time it was not an interview question. It was something else. Because I am good at it. I said. And I have spent 4 years watching companies overlook me. I am done being overlooked. You start Monday, he said. I stood up. Shook his hand. Walked out. Got into the elevator. Pressed the button. And the moment those doors closed, I collapsed against the wall, covered my mouth with both hands, and completely fell apart with joy. I called Zara from the lobby, still shaking. Zara, I got it. The scream she let out. I am certain people in the building heard it. Monday came. And Adrian Cole made it very clear from day one, there would be no special treatment. If anything, he was harder on me than anyone else. Deadlines tighter. Feedback sharper. Standards higher. This proposal is average, he told me on my third day, sliding my work back across the desk without looking up. I do not hire average. I picked it up. I will redo it. By tomorrow morning. I stayed until midnight. I redid it. I made it better than anything I had ever produced. He read it the next morning without a word. Put it in his approved pile. That was all I got. But somehow, it was enough. A colleague pulled me aside in the break room. He only pushes the ones he believes in, she said quietly. The rest he just ignores. I thought about that for a very long time. The project that changed everything came 6 weeks in. A full rebranding pitch for a major client. I was put on the team. Lowest ranked member. Newest hire. I worked on it like it was mine alone. Late one night I was still at my desk at 10 p.m. when I heard footsteps. Adrian. He stopped at my desk. Looked at my screen. You are still here, he said. I am not done, I said without looking up. He was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled out the chair across from me and sat down. I looked up then. What are you working on? He asked. Not as my boss. Just curious. I showed him. We talked about it for 2 hours. He challenged ideas and I challenged his challenges, and at some point it stopped being about work entirely. He told me he built coal industries from a single failed startup at 24. That his first office was a storage room he rented for $300 a month. That he ate instant noodles for a year because he refused to quit. I told him about the 4 years. The rejection letters. My mother's voice on the phone telling me to keep going. The blazer Zara ironed like it was sacred. He listened. Really listened. You did not give up, he said eventually. I could not afford to. I said. Something moved behind his eyes. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Then he stood up. Go home, Maya. Get some rest. He used my name. For the first time. Not Miss Maya. Just Maya. I do not know why that felt like so much. This story is just getting started. And trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story like this. And drop a comment, have you ever worked for someone who pushed you this hard? The presentation day came. I stood in front of 40 people and delivered that pitch like I had been doing it my whole life. When I finished, silence. Then Adrian stood up. This, he said looking at the room, is the standard I expect from everyone on this floor. He looked at me briefly. One nod. That was it. But my chest felt like it could hold the entire sky. Afterward, Zara demanded a full debrief over lunch. He nodded at you. She repeated, fork frozen midair. It was a professional acknowledgement. Maya. The man nodded at you. Do you understand what that means? It means he approved of my work. It means he is gone for you. I need you to accept this. He is my boss, Zara. He is a gorgeous, successful man who cannot keep his eyes off you, and you are sitting here talking about professionalism. Can we please talk about something else? Zara stared at me. You already feel something. That is why you are running. I said nothing. Because she was right. And I knew it. And I hated it. For 2 weeks after that, nothing. We were professional. Courteous. Perfectly appropriate. And somehow that was the most unbearable thing of all. He asked me to dinner on a Tuesday. Not dramatically. Not with flowers or grand gestures. He just appeared at my desk at the end of the day and said quietly, have dinner with me. I looked up at him. As my boss? No. I held his gaze for a long moment. Something in me wanted to say yes so badly that it scared me. Adrian. Just dinner, Maya. I cannot. He studied me. Cannot or won't? Both. I said honestly. I worked too hard to get here. I cannot blur these lines. I will not. He nodded slowly. No argument. No pressure. Just, okay. He walked away. And I sat at my desk staring at my screen, seeing absolutely nothing. 2 weeks later, flowers on my desk. No card. But I knew. I left them in the break room for everyone. He saw them there the next morning. Something tightened in his jaw, but he said nothing. Zara was absolutely furious with me. Maya. Flowers. From a billionaire. I left them in the break room. The noise she made. I cannot describe it. What is wrong with you? I do not trust it, Zara. Men like that do not want women like me for real. They want us for a moment and then. Maya, our voice went quiet. Not every man is going to leave. You know that, right? I did not answer. That was the real thing. The thing underneath everything. Now here is something nobody in that office knew. Adrian Cole had a rule. A rule he had kept for 7 years without exception. He never pursued anyone twice. If they said no, he walked away. Every time. Without fail. He had asked me twice. He had never done that for anyone in his life. After the flowers, Adrian stopped. Not coldly. Not rudely. He was professional. Warm even. But whatever door had been opening between us, he closed it quietly. And I felt the absence of it like a missing tooth. Constantly aware of the empty space. Then the rumor started. Have you heard? Mr. Cole is being introduced to someone. A family arrangement. Her father owns half the real estate in the country. I heard it in the elevator. 2 colleagues who did not see me standing behind them. I said nothing. Walked to my desk. Sat down. Stared at my screen. Fine. I told myself. This is fine. This is what you chose. That evening there was a company dinner. 4 more. Everyone dressed up. I walked in with my head high in a black dress Zora had helped me pick out. You are going to need armor, she had said mysteriously. I had not understood what she meant then. I did now. She was already there across the room. Tall. Graceful. Dressed in ivory. Laughing at something Adrian's colleague said. Adrian stood beside her, composed as always. And then, as if he felt me, he looked up. Across the entire room. Directly at me. I looked away first. I made it through dinner on autopilot. Smiled at the right moments. Said the right things. And the second it was appropriate to leave, I picked up my clutch and walked out. I made it to the car park before Zora caught up with me. Maya. I am fine. You are not fine. I chose this, Zora. My voice cracked. I said no. I said no twice. I do not get to feel like this. Yes you do, she said softly. Because you are human. And you are in love with him. The word landed like a stone dropping into still water. Love. I slid down against my car until I was sitting on the ground in my good dress. Zara sat right down beside me on the cold concrete without a second thought. We sat there in silence for a long time. I think I made the biggest mistake of my life. I whispered. Zara took my hand. Said nothing. Because sometimes there is nothing to say. Do not go anywhere. Because what happens next, nobody saw it coming. If you are new here, subscribe and turn on notifications. This is the part where everything changes. I did not sleep that night. I lay in the dark staring at the ceiling, running every conversation back through my mind. Every moment in that late night office. Every nod. Every time he said my name. Every time I chose fear over everything else. At 3 in the morning I picked up my phone and called Zara. She answered on the first ring. Like she had been waiting. I am going to tell him. I said. Silence. Zara. I am here, she said. I am just crying. Do not mind me. Go tell him. The next morning I was in the office before anyone else. When Adrian walked in and saw me standing outside his office, he slowed. Maya. 5 minutes. I said. Please. He opened the door. I walked in. He closed it behind us. I turned to face him. I know I said no. Twice. And I know you have every right to have moved on, and I have no right to be standing here saying any of this. Maya. I am not done. I said firmly. He closed his mouth. I was scared. I have been scared my whole life of wanting something and losing it. Of being too much and not enough at the same time. And when you asked me, both times, it was not that I did not want to say yes. It was that saying yes terrified me more than any rejection letter ever could. I took a breath. I think I am in love with you. And I am sorry it took me so long to stop running from that. And if it is too late, I understand. But I could not let you walk into whatever that was last night without telling you the truth. The room was completely silent. Adrian looked at me for what felt like a very long time. Then, I canceled dinner with her. I blinked. When? The night of the company event. When you walked out of that room trying to pretend you were not falling apart. I saw you across the room, he said quietly. And I thought, I do not want to have dinner with anyone who is not her. My breath caught. I should have told you, he said. I did not because I thought you needed more time. And I was willing to wait. You were going to wait. For as long as it took. And those 5 words completely undid me. I laughed and cried at the same time. Adrian crossed the room in 3 steps. And for the first time, he held me. And it felt like something clicking into place that had been loose for a very long time. We took it slow. No announcements. No drama. Just us, learning each other properly. He was different when the armor was off. Quieter. Funnier than I expected. He remembered small things I mentioned once and never repeated. He showed up. Zara met him for the first time over dinner and spent the entire meal staring at him with an expression that said I told you so without a single word. As we were leaving she pulled me aside. Maya, I just need you to know. I knew from the road incident. I knew. Good night, Zara. I am always right about these things. Good night, Zara. One evening he drove me somewhere without telling me where we were going. We stopped on a quiet street and he got out and gestured for me to follow. I looked around. I recognized it slowly. The road. The exact spot. The crosswalk where everything started. Why are we here? I said. He looked at the spot. Because I want to remember it properly. Not as the morning I was running late. As the morning everything changed. You almost killed me. I said. I stopped. 2 inches from my body, Adrian. I stopped, he repeated. Smiling. Best almost accident of my life, he said. And standing there on that quiet road. I thought about 26-year-old Maya in the rain with a rejection letter on her phone, not watching where she was going. She had no idea. She had absolutely no idea what was coming. He proposed on an ordinary Thursday evening. No restaurant. No skywriting. No crowd. Just my apartment. Zara had come over for dinner. I just felt like coming over, she said casually. Which I should have found suspicious. My mother was video calling in on Zara's phone. Which I definitely should have found suspicious. After we ate, Adrian got quiet. I looked at him. You okay? He reached into his pocket. And everything went still. He got down on one knee right there on my living room floor and I forgot how to breathe. You turned me down twice, he said. A small smile. You dropped my business card on the ground. You left my flowers in the break room. I laughed. A broken, overwhelmed sound. You pushed back on everything. You never once made it easy. And every single time, his voice dropped. I just wanted more of it. More of you. Because you were always the most real thing in every room. He opened the box. Maya. Will you let me spend the rest of my life being almost run over by you? Zara made a sound like a wounded animal. My mother was saying something on the phone but I could not hear it. I was looking at this man, this infuriating, stubborn, unexpectedly tender man, kneeling on my living room floor. Yes. I said. Finally, yes. He slid the ring on my finger and stood up and held my face in his hands, and for a moment it was just us. Behind us Zara was full body sobbing. My mother was shouting. Something got knocked over. Neither of us moved. We got married on a Saturday in early spring. Zara cried from the moment she woke up. She cried through hair and makeup. She cried walking down the aisle before me. She cried during the vows. She cried during the cake cutting. You are going to dehydrate. I whispered to her before I walked out. I am fine, she sobbed. I walked out to the top of the aisle. And Adrian Cole, who I had never once seen flinch, who walked into every room like he owned it, who had looked at me with cold eyes on a rainy road and told me to cross faster. His eyes filled. He pressed his lips together and looked at the ceiling for just a second. Then he looked back at me. And he smiled. I walked toward him. 4 years of rejection letters. Hundreds of numbers, one rainy road and one terrible near accident. And a man who asked me twice, and then waited. I spent so long being afraid that wanting something meant losing it. I did not know that the right things do not leave just because you are scared. They wait. If you are in a season of closed doors right now, keep going. Your collision is coming. And it just might change everything. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more stories like this every week. And drop in the comments, what part hit you the hardest? I read every single one.